What if I told you that by carrying a little device like this, Bluetooth connected to your cell phone, that you would be able to send text messages even when you have no cell service? Guys, this is a device called a Meshtastic device, and we're going to talk about that right now on Comms by Kemp Outside. Hey guys, I'm Kevin, and this is Comms by Kemp Outside, where your inside source for outdoor comms. Well, I hope that little teaser got you interested, and maybe you already know all about Meshtastic and you just want to see what the Seeed Studio T1000-E is about, and I'm going to get into that. But guys, I wanted to start out this video because this is my first video on Meshtastic. I wanted to talk about a series of radios that connect together to make a mesh in your area that allows you to send out text messages. So guys, this is super cool. It's something that I'm really getting into. One of the biggest reasons is because we go camping a lot of places that don't have cell service. And so if my wife and I want to send text messages back and forth to each other, or anybody else in the group wants to do it, there's really no way without cell phone signal unless you create your own mesh network wherever you are. So that is something I'm going to be doing on this channel, is showing you how to build a mesh network for off-grid texting when you're outdoors. So stay tuned for that. But the other thing that I really want to do is I want to get into creating a mesh network where I live so that we have off-grid communications when we have hurricanes or other natural disaster events. Guys, the last time we had a hurricane, which was just last year, during both Helene and Milton, we had cell service disruptions where basically either our cell phones didn't work at all or our traffic was deprioritized for emergency services and FEMA and whoever else was down here. Basically, our phones had full cell signal, but we still couldn't use the signal because we had no bandwidth. Verizon, in our case, throttled us back so that the first responders had enough bandwidth to do what they needed to do. And so what I want to do is I want to create a messaging system that doesn't rely on existing infrastructure. And one of the ways to do that is to build your own with a mesh network of connected radios. So what this is this is a little radio, and it operates on the 915 megahertz band, which is a line of sight band basically. And so this only has a range of about a mile or so, give or take, right? But if a bunch of these are around, right, they all connect to each other. They send out a little signal and say, hey, I'm over here, hey, I'm over there, whatever. And then you Bluetooth this device to your phone, and then you can send a message, a text message from your phone. You type it into the Meshtastic app, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And then that sends this through the mesh to whoever you're sending it to. They also have to have one of these Bluetooth connected to their phone. So I have one of these Bluetooth connected to my phone. I'm going to set this one up today for my wife Barb so that she has one connected to her phone, so that if we are in the same mesh, right, we can send text messages back and forth. So think of this like a mesh network in your house. So a lot of people have mesh networks for their Wi-Fi, right? Where it used to be that we only had a router in one place of the house, and if you were too far away from that router, you didn't have good Wi-Fi signal in that room, right? But now we have nodes that we set up that repeat the Wi-Fi signal and make that signal strong in different places of the house. Well, this works the same way, right? So if my neighbor has one of these and 6 houses down has one of these, and then somebody else has one, high up on a tower, a mile away, and then other people are close to that tower, we can bounce the signal across these mesh radios until we get to our intended target. So the more of these that are in your area, kind of the better it works. Now, your area can be flooded with these, and in which case you might have a little bit of an issue. Like they're having issues at Burning Man and other places where these things show up in huge numbers, right? But in general, probably in the area where you live, there aren't going to be very many of these. And so if you put in a few of these around where you live, or encourage your neighbors to do it as well, you can build a mesh network where you can send text messages even when your cell phone service is down. So that's just a little overview of Meshtastic, guys, and we're going to get into a lot more of this. But the first thing you want to do when you're setting up a new Meshtastic device is you want to download the app, right? So I did a search for Meshtastic and I downloaded it. So there it is. So we're going to hit open, right? And it says, welcome to Meshtastic. And so we are going to allow Meshtastic to find Bluetooth devices. And we're going to click get started. And we're going to configure notification permissions. We're going to allow Meshtastic to send you notifications. That way, if someone sends you a message through Meshtastic, you know you get an alert. Meshtastic would like to send you critical alerts. We're going to allow that as well. And then we are going to enable location sharing, right? And we're going to allow while using the app for now. Okay. So what that does is it brings up this screen, right? And what it's picking up is it's picking up this Seeed Studio T1000-E Meshtastic device. That's Meshtastic F0C4, right? But before we connect to this, I want to upgrade the firmware for this device. So before we do that, I want to show you this thing. This thing is about the size of a credit card, right? In length and width. And then in thickness, it's about 3 credit cards, right? So this is really small. You could fit it in a shirt pocket, or it's got this little thing. You could put it on a luggage tag. I have one on a lanyard. These are awesome. And I think it's IP66 rated, so it's very weather resistant. So you can take this thing hiking, biking, you can take it outside, and if it gets wet, if it gets rained on, it's going to be just fine. Right? It's really, really cool. It's got a little charging port on the back. It comes with its own USB-C charging cable. So it's USB-A to this little, it's almost like Apple's old MagSafe, right? If you remember MagSafe. And so it just magnetically connects to the back, right? And then it's plugged in. So really cool. That's how you charge it. These things have great battery life. They run quite a while before having to recharge. And then when you update the firmware, you're going to hook this in as well. So let's get into updating the firmware and then get this thing connected. All right, guys, so we have the Meshtastic website open here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to, let me see if I gotta find it here. We're going to go to Web Flasher. So it's downloads Web Flasher. So go to Web Flasher, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure our Meshtastic device is plugged in, right? So we're going to, this only goes one way because of the magnets. Okay, so it's connected, right? And the computer just did a little chime. So we're going to select our target device. We're going to scroll down until we see the Seeed Card Tracker T1000-E, right? Looks pretty good. I'm gonna click that, right? We want the latest beta firmware, right? So we don't want the unstable one, we want the beta one. So we're gonna click that. And we're gonna click flash, right? So here's all the stuff that they're upgrading. We're just gonna hit continue. Okay, so we are now connected. All right, so we're going to close that. We don't want it to scan. Don't scan. Okay, so now we're going to download UF2. All right, so we just downloaded that. So we're going to go to our downloads. See, this is the T1000-E. We're connected. So I'm going to click in here. I'm going to open a second window. There's my downloads. So downloads. All right, so there it is. I've already downloaded it once today. This is the second time just to shoot the video. So what I'm going to do here right, is I am going to delete out this current UF2 that is the current firmware in the device. All right, just hit delete. Yes. And then I'm going to click and drag the new firmware in. And once I do that, it will copy over. It takes a second. And then the T1000-E will restart. So there it goes. And it has restarted. So we are done. And you just heard the T1000-E restart. Okay, so the next step is to connect the Meshtastic to the phone, right? So we are in the Meshtastic app, and we're gonna connect to that radio. I'm gonna get the phone turned around so you can see what we're doing right here on the screen. All right, guys, so here we go. We are going to connect. So we're gonna connect here, Meshtastic. And so it's communicating. Now, when you're first communicating with a new one, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to pair. And so it's communicating. Now it's going to ask me to set the LoRa region. And in this case, we want to select United States. So we're going to select United States. And then we're going to hit save. Every time you do this, it will disconnect and restart the radio, and then it'll reconnect. So now it's saying it's available. Oh, it just restarted. Hold on. Let me go back to Bluetooth. Okay, so we are connected, right? And you see it doesn't say set LoRa region anymore, right? So now we're going to name it. So we're going to go into settings, and we're going to go into user, right? And so the short name for this one is going to be, I'm going to name this KO2. Mine is KO1. And the long name is going to be KO space Barb. Mine is KO space Kevin. KO is obviously short for Camp Outside. That way we can see each other and know who we are. So then I'm going to hit save. Save user config to Meshtastic. Right, so it is going to shut the radio off and then restart it. Let's go back to Bluetooth here. See, so we lost connection. The radio just rebooted. It should come back to us. So there we are, KO Barb. All right. So now I should be able to see other nodes around me. So I'm going to click this nodes button. There's only one, and that's the one we're connected to, but it should find my other node here in a second. Before we do that though, I'm going to go back into settings and I'm going to adjust a few other things. So I'm going to go into the settings and I'm going to go into device. Right now, I'm going to make this a client. For right now, we don't have a lot of nodes in our area, so all the nodes in our area need to kind of rebroadcast the signals that they get because we don't have very many. But if I'm in an area where there are a lot of nodes, I would change this to client mute, and we'll talk about that in a future video where we talk about all the device settings for Meshtastic. But right now, I'm going to leave it as client, and I am going to leave all of this pretty much set just the way it is. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see, let's go back and let's go position. And we're going to smart position. I'm going to change the minimum interval to 1 minute. So this is basically, as this thing moves around, like if you're hiking or traveling with this thing, it will broadcast more often the more you move. So if you're traveling really fast and you're covering a lot of ground, it'll broadcast that it's out there and ready to receive signals more often than if it's just standing still, right? So happy with all that. So I'm gonna hit save. Save config for KO barb. Then I'll shut the radio off again, and then it should come back on. Click over Bluetooth. Yep, and it's back. And it will reconnect. So there it is, we're communicating and we're subscribed. Let me go back to nodes here. So it hasn't found any new nodes yet, but when it does, KO1 will show up right here. Okay guys, so it went ahead and found KO Kevin, right? Which is this one right here that I have connected to a lanyard, right? That's the one I carry, right? So what I wanna do is I wanna send a message. So I have KO Kevin connected to my iPad. So I'm gonna go ahead and send KO2 or KO Barb a message. So I'm typing it on my iPad off screen. I'm gonna hit send. Okay, this is going off. KO Kevin says hello. I'm gonna click messages, right? Direct messages. Now to get this to stop beeping, I'm gonna hit this button. Okay, and that stops beeping. You can turn that off, by the way, but if you want an audio signal, you can get it, right? And then there is the message, hello. And I'm gonna go ahead and type one back. I'm gonna say, hi. And then I'm gonna hit send. Right, and then that is sending it. Now, this one's going off, right? And I've got the message on my iPad, right? So, which is right there if you can see it. So, yep, you should be able to see it. So that makes text messaging very, very easy. All right, so what's the catch, right? These devices are really inexpensive. They're between $40 and $50 each, right? So you can get one of these and connect it to your phone, and then you can have off-grid text messaging, really cool. What is the catch? The catch is the less of these you have in an area, the smaller the network and the more holes it has. The more people that have these and have the ability to connect with and create a mesh, the bigger the mesh, the farther your signal will go. Now there are a variety of these Meshtastic type devices that you can put up. Obviously these are simple devices you just carry with you. Others have detachable antennas with higher gains. If you put them higher up at higher elevation, they're gonna cover more distance. So there are Meshtastic nodes that people will put on the exterior of their house, right, that will pick up signals from farther away, and then those signals will be repeated into the house or where you are for one of these things. So the next thing we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna put up a Meshtastic node on my barn outside with a high gain antenna to see if we can connect to more people, because right now, right, on Barb's app, when I open the Meshtastic app and I go to nodes, we're the only two, which means when these nodes are too far apart, texting won't work anymore. But if we put a higher antenna up outside that will increase the range and act as a repeater between these two nodes, then we should get greater and greater range. So we're gonna test that out. So guys, if you're interested in Meshtastic, let me know. Drop some in the comments below. Tell me what you think of this. Tell me whether you think this is a gimmick or whether or not you think it'll work. We're gonna get a lot deeper into this. This is our first introduction into Meshtastic. And guys, I'm learning along with everybody else. These are my first two Meshtastic nodes, so I'm learning how to do this stuff. It's funny though, when I drive around, right, I pick up other Meshtastic nodes, so more and more people are getting into this. And I think that if enough people get into this, especially in neighborhoods and in, suburban communities throughout Florida, the more people that have these things, the more robust the mesh network is, and the more suitable this system is for off-grid messaging when we have storms. So I'm hoping people in Florida will adopt this and go ahead and invest the small amount of money it takes to put these things up outside on their homes or in their houses and even in their attics. These are really, really cool devices, and I'm going to be exploring a whole lot more of them. So again, let me know what you think. If you run Meshtastic, tell me what device you have, right? Drop some in the comments below or give me your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Or you can connect with us on other social media, guys. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X, or my website at kempoutside.com. I put all the links down in the description below to all of those so you can connect with us, and I would love for you to connect with me on other social media. Yeah, guys, Meshtastic, pretty cool. You don't have to have a license to operate these. These are free to use, and the more of them that are out there, the better the network becomes. So stay tuned. We're going to bring you a whole lot more Meshtastic stuff right here on Comms by Kemp Outside. I'm Kevin with Comms by Kemp Outside. We're your inside source for outdoor comms. Thanks for camping out with us. We'll see you outside.